The room was gold and glass. Laughter floated like perfume. Champagne sparkled in every hand. And then, silence. Every face turned toward me as if I'd walked into a crime scene instead of a company party. The kind of silence that doesn't ask questions, just judges. I stood at the entrance, the only one without a name tag. Her name, however, was everywhere. Evelyn Carter, Vice President, Operations. My wife. She stood near the stage, hand resting on her boss's arm, a gesture so small it could be missed. But I didn't miss it. Not tonight. Her boss leaned close to security, whispered something, and the next thing I heard was a sharp voice. "Escort him out." The words cut through the music like glass through silk. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I adjusted my tie and waited for Evelyn to look at me. She did. A small, cruel smile. The kind people use when they've already decided you no longer exist. "I didn't invite you," she said softly, lips barely moving. "Why did you come?" I didn't answer, because this wasn't a visit. It was a return. 2 months ago, I'd received an email. It wasn't meant for me. It was from her boss, Daniel West, a simple line that said, "I can still taste you from last night." The message arrived at 2:43 a.m. She was sleeping next to me. At first, I thought it was a mistake, or maybe some twisted joke. But when I looked at her face, turned away, breathing calm and steady, I knew. There's a kind of peace only liars have. I didn't wake her, didn't ask questions. Instead, I started saving. Every file, every message, every trace. Her laptop, her company email, the project files she said were confidential. It didn't take long to see the pattern. Private dinners disguised as strategy sessions. Out-of-town board meetings with only 2 attendees. Expense reports that read like love letters. I began to understand. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was her cover story. The polite ring on her finger that kept the gossip manageable. The dull shadow she stood beside, so her light seemed brighter. But she forgot one thing. I was the one who built the company's database. The one who designed their entire internal system from the ground up. And deep in its spine, I'd left something. Something even she didn't know existed. I played along for weeks. Breakfasts, dinners, pretending not to see her smile at messages she'd delete seconds later. Pretending not to smell someone else's cologne on her coat. Each night, I'd log into the back end of her company's servers. Audit trails, admin logs, every keystroke left a footprint. I didn't need proof of her infidelity anymore. I needed control. So I wrote a script, a silent function that would lie dormant until I wanted to wake it. Hidden under an innocuous line of code. Primary key equals null. Invisible, but lethal. When triggered, every server query, every transaction, every login, every access key would collapse, like pulling the thread out of a web. It wasn't just a program, it was a statement, a quiet declaration that I still existed. The morning of the party, she'd kissed me on the cheek before leaving. "Don't wait up," she said. Her tone was gentle, rehearsed, like a doctor telling a patient the anesthesia would only sting a little. So I didn't wait. I dressed in the same black suit she'd once said made me look dangerous. I arrived at her company's anniversary gala, uninvited, unannounced, and unafraid. Back in that golden hall, I stood as security moved closer. Evelyn's boss whispered, "Get him out before he embarrasses her." Embarrass her? I almost smiled. I raised my phone. One tap. The room's massive LED screens flickered, first one, then all. The logo vanished. Music stopped mid-beat. Then across every wall, every glowing surface, appeared the same words. Primary key missing. I watched the panic unfold like theater. Her boss froze, shouted to IT, Fix it now. But they couldn't. The system was gone, shredded from within. Years of client data, financial reports, contracts, all vanished. Evelyn's face drained of color. Her boss turned to her. "What did you do? You handled access last." She stammered, I didn't." And then she looked at me. For the first time in months, really looked. I met her eyes. Calm, silent. She understood then. I hadn't come to plead, I'd come to end. I walked toward her through the chaos. People shouting, phones ringing, screens flashing. She backed away. "What did you do?" "Nothing," I said softly. "Just reminded your system who built it." Her boss barked at me, "You'll pay for this." I turned to him, expression empty. "You already did." He didn't understand, not yet. But he would, because among those deleted files were records of every off-book transaction he'd made. Payments, favors, hidden accounts, all now exposed, buried inside a corruption log I'd already sent to the company's legal team under an anonymous whistleblower tag. Evelyn's career would collapse with his, a synchronized fall, perfectly timed. She reached for my arm. "You can't do this." I looked down at her hand, then at her trembling lips. "I already did," I said, and walked away. Behind me, alarms blared, voices cracked. Her boss screamed again, not at me this time, but at her. Outside, the night air felt clean, quiet. My reflection in the glass door looked unfamiliar, not broken, just emptied. I thought of all the nights I waited for her to come home. The way I used to believe silence meant peace. It never did. It only meant something was rotting quietly. I didn't feel victory, only finality. She'd built her world on deceit. I just erased the foundation. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. A new message. From her. Just one word. Why? I stared at it, then deleted it without replying. Because some questions don't deserve answers, and some endings don't need closure, only silence. Final line, I didn't destroy her world. I simply removed myself from it and watched it collapse under its own lies.